Hello, Miss Bernie.
Hello, Rezan. How are you today?
Fine, and you?
Very well, very well. How was school today?
Today, actually, it's perfect. We don't have
Perfect.
anything interesting, and
Okay.
it's daily school day.
I'm glad you had a perfect day.
Thanks.
Are you still playing the violin?
Yeah.
What is your latest song?
The what's the name of 1 minute? I forgot the name. Um, Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes, I know that song very well. That's a great. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Okay, I've seen it many times. It's a great movie. All right, my young friend. Last week when we talked about the word emulate. What does it mean when you emulate something?
Emulate. To try to be like the thing that you seen.
Right, to try to be like something, to copy or imitate or mimic something. Maybe your little brother emulates you. Sometimes little brothers do that, okay?
Yeah.
All right, now today's word has a very strange aspect to its spelling. So take a look at this word and think about it for a second. How do you think you would pronounce that word?
Solomon.
That's a good try. Now here's the strange thing. There are not many, but a couple words in English that end MN, and the N is silent. So try that again, but remember that the N is silent. So how would you say it?
Solemn.
That's it, solemn, with a silent N. Now, that's kind of strange because let's face it, lots of English words have silent E. That's very, very common. Sometimes a word has a silent I in it. That's not unusual. But a silent N, there are not very many English words with a silent N, are there? That is not common. That is not very usual. So let's put it in the chat for you. It is an adjective, okay?
Okay, Miss Bernie.
So I am not solemn when I see you. I am always happy to see you. I'm happy to see your sister. I'm happy to see your brother. If I was solemn, I would look more like this. Not very smiling, not very happy. And you would probably think, I don't think Teacher Bernie likes me. Look at how he looks. Okay?
Okay, Miss Bernie.
So solemn, very serious, straight-faced, not very happy. Rezan, you might feel solemn if you go to a funeral. You might feel solemn if you're in a class and the teacher is angry with you and speaking with you, and you feel very like that. You would be solemn.
Okay.
Now, you seem to me to be a happy person because you're always smiling. Okay? And teaching your class is very pleasant and very happy because you are not solemn. Is there ever a time when you are solemn?
No, actually.
Okay. For me, I'm very happy with my students on Cambly. Sometimes at a funeral, I feel solemn.
Oh.
Yeah. And you just feel kind of quiet and serious. And so then you might be solemn. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask you next week, and I expect you to know it. Okay.
Okay, Miss Bernie.
Okay, my young friend. Now, today, I'd like to look at this from Teacher Rachel. So give me a second. Okay.
I did not know how to pronounce this word. I had to look it up.
Just a minute.
The other day.
Now, Teacher Rachel is going to talk about two words or phrases verbal phrases, they're sometimes called, that seem similar but have very different meanings. Okay.
Today I used these two phrases for one text, tuckered out and tucked in. Tuckered out means really tired. It's a phrasal verb and it just is something you might use at the end of the day after you've worked really hard. You just want to go home and sit on your couch.
Couch.
You're tuckered out. In this text, I said all tuckered out from our Lancaster trip, talking about my two sons. But tucked in now, what is this phrasal verb? To tuck in means to put to bed, to put the covers on and make somebody cozy. Usually this is what we do with kids, but you might tuck in somebody if they're feeling sick and you're taking care of them. Tuckered out, tucked in. When you're tuckered out, it's probably time to get tucked in.
Okay. Rezan, if you're tuckered out, it means you're very tired.
I understand.
So imagine if you went to school all day, and then I know you go to the gym and you work out, and you went to work out, and then you practice the violin, and then you did your homework. And by the time you did all that, you were tuckered out. Okay. Now, let me think. Is it 8:21 at your house right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you feel a little tuckered out?
No.
Okay. Sometimes Bauer seems a little tuckered out. I think he's starting to get tired when we have our lessons. Now, tucked in is completely different. So let me show you tucked in. Now, I don't usually use dolls with you because you're not a little boy, but suppose this is a baby, okay? And I have a blanket here, okay? There, go to sleep. I tucked in the baby.
Okay.
Maybe when you were a real little boy and your parents put you in bed and they put the little blanket around you like that, they tucked you in. Okay? So
Okay.
the baby here is tucked in. Now, tucked in also has a second meaning. And Rezan, the shirt I'm wearing today, I'm wearing this nice shirt. And you can only see my shirt. You can't see my pants. Okay? So my shirt is untucked. Now, yesterday when I went to church, I tucked my shirt in. Okay? Like that. And that's to tuck in your clothes or tuck in your shirt. Rezan, when you go to school, do you have to tuck in your shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't tuck in my shirt when I'm teaching on Cambly. I'm just teaching on Cambly. When I went to church yesterday, I tucked in my shirt and I wore a belt. Okay.
Okay.
When I was a teacher, I always tucked in my shirt and made it look really good. So tuckered out means exhausted or tired. See, you are tuckered out. Look at that. I saw that.
Actually, my nose, like I'm going to
Right. Sneeze. Okay. If you say so. Okay. And then tucked in can mean when you put a baby or a child to bed and you put the blankets around the child, or it can mean to tuck in your clothes. Are you good?
Okay.
Okay. So we learned quite a bit today. All right. Now, we have been reading this idea about does education affect how long we live? And when we read last week, we learned that surprisingly, all around the world, it does make a difference. In other words, even in poor countries, if you are well educated, you live longer than your other poor countrymen. So it had nothing to do with being rich or poor. It had to do with being educated. And so, Rezan, we got all the way down today to the discussion. So would you read the first paragraph and I'll read the second and third? Go ahead.
Okay. Our results show that requiring more education can help people live longer, but how do the effects of education compare to other health related behaviors?
We found that not going to school at all is as bad for your health as drinking 5 or more alcoholic drinks per day or smoking 10 cigarettes a day for 10 years. Wow. Go ahead.
On the other hand, recovering 18 years of schooling is as good for your health as eating the ideal
Ideal,
amount of
ideal.
amounts of vegetables or getting the recommended level of physical activity.
Education can provide a pathway to better health and a longer life, but not everyone has the same access to schooling. This contributes to inequalities, inequities in health and mortality. We think world leaders should promote opportunities for people to go to school. With increased access to education, people around the world could live longer, healthier lives. Okay, Rezan, let's look at this word for just a second. You mispronounced that. You see what I wrote?
Yeah.
So if you ate the ideal amount of vegetables, it meant you ate the perfect amount, exactly how many vegetables you should eat. Rezan, I was really, really surprised by this paragraph. So if you never went to school, it would hurt your health so much, like drinking 5 or more alcoholic drinks a day or smoking 10 cigarettes every day for 10 years. So not going to school is very bad for your health, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So we really learned some interesting things there. Rezan, before we go on and look at our space article for today, is there any word you want to ask me about?
No, actually, I'm okay with all.
Okay, very good. Now, Rezan, before we go into our space picture today, I wanted to start just by asking you a quick question. Now, you are 16 or 17?
I'm 16.
Okay. I have a student who is 17, so just a year older than you, and he lives on the island of Taiwan. Do you know
Oh,
Taiwan?
yeah.
Okay. And he was angry the other day because in Taiwan, once you become a man, so you're 18 or older, you have to be in the army. I think it's for 2 years.
Oh,
It can be before you go to college or it can be after college, but you have to be in the army for 2 years. And he is very unhappy about that. He doesn't think it's fair. He doesn't like that idea. It's making him really angry. And he said to me, do you have to be in the army in the United States? How does it work in the United States? Now, of course, I'm much, much older than you. When I turned 18, it was 1978, so that long ago, I had to fill out a paper for the government to show that I was a US citizen and that I was 18 years old. And then they save that paper until you turn, I think it was 35. And
oh,
after that, they get rid of it and it's gone. But if we had gone into a war during those years, they might have called me to be in the army. Now, I was fortunate. At that time, I never got called. So my paper is gone because now I am an old man and I don't have to serve. Um, all of the people who are in the Army and Navy and Air Force and Coast Guard and Marines and Space Force of the United States are volunteers. In other words, they entered because they wanted to enter. They wanted to be a soldier. They wanted to be a sailor. They wanted to be a Marine. Now that makes me wonder, how does the Army work in Turkey? Are you going to have to be in the Army when you get a little older?
Actually, if I'm not false, if we turn to 21st 21 years old.
Right.
We are going to army for 6 months.
Okay. So you will have to do that?
Actually, yeah. Or like with some kind of money, like 200,000 Turkish liras. You can go there for 2 months.
Okay. Okay. Huh. That's interesting how different it is, because Taiwan has one idea, the United States has another idea, and Turkey has another idea. Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
My friend, I don't have my phone with me right now because it's charging in the other room. But do you think at your age, do you have a cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Do all of your friends have cell phones?
Yeah, actually.
Okay. So you are 16. Berfine is 15.
Yeah.
Does she have a cell phone?
Yes.
And Bauer is 11. Does he have a cell phone?
No. He have a smart clock.
Okay.
That can call my father or mother.
Okay. Okay. So somewhere around 13 or 14, you got a cell phone, and so did your sister, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Nowadays, everybody has cell phones, and this is interesting. Reed Weidman, one of the astronauts on Artemis 2, took his cell phone with him into space. And he made this film using his cell phone, not with a fancy camera, not with an expensive camera, just with his cell phone. And so NASA put this on their website, and I thought it was really interesting. A cell phone picture from Artemis 2.
Would you look at that?
Oh.
Wow, what's the shadow behind it?
Wow. Dude.
Yes.
No way.
It's interesting. And
Isn't that something?
perfect.
Okay.
Fiend.
And isn't it funny? You could use a fancy, expensive camera. He's just using his cell phone. It's just a cell phone. It's nothing else. And I thought that was really interesting. Now, he called the picture this.
Eartset.
Now, do you understand what that means?
Yeah.
You know this word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sunset is when the sun goes down, okay? And it kind of reminded him of sunset, so he called it earth set. Okay? Because the earth was setting behind the moon. So I thought that was really neat. Now, do you know what the opposite is?
No.
Okay. Do you know this term?
Oh, okay, I know.
Okay. So I guess if he saw the earth come back around from around the moon, it would be called earthrise.
Earthrise.
Earthrise. That's what I'm guessing.
Interesting, actually.
Yeah. Maybe when they go around the other side, they will see earth rise. Okay. Now, our friend Brian kind of solved his problem. So what did he had a problem? He didn't have anything to eat. And how did he solve the problem? What did he do since he couldn't find anything
With
to eat?
berries.
Right. How many berries did he eat? He ate a lot, didn't he? He was
So
so
many.
hungry. I mean, come on, you're a teenage boy. You're very good at eating, right? Okay. And so he ate a lot. And it said that he actually pulled all the berries off the branches and ate. But then his stomach started hurting because he ate so many. So, Rezan, this is not a very happy part of the story. It's kind of gross, but we're going to have to read it. Outside, the sun was going down finally. And in the initial coolness, the mosquitoes came out again and clouded in on him. They were thick, terrible, if not quite as bad as in the morning. And he kept brushing them off his arms until he couldn't stand it. And he dumped the berries and put the torn windbreaker on. At least the sleeves covered his arms. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Oops,
Mr.
okay. That's okay.
Connection
Would
problems.
That's okay. That's okay. Would you read wrapped in the jacket? Whoops, you disconnected again. It's still kind of small.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Would you start where it says wrapped in the jacket?
Wrapped in the jacket, with darkness coming down fast now. He climbed back in under the rock and handled
Huddle. Like
and
this.
tried to sleep. He was deeply tired and still aching some, and did not finally his stomach turning on the berries. Brian went to sleep.
Okay. So he could not sleep. Rezan, I need to make sure you know how to say one of these words here. This is aching. Oh, I'm in so much pain. It hurts. It's
Sorry.
aching. So he's still a little bit in pain from the plane crash, but now his stomach turning. He ate all those berries. Brian went to sleep. Chapter 7. Mother! He screamed it, and he could not be sure if the scream awakened him or the pain in his stomach. His whole abdomen, his stomach, was torn with great rolling jolts of pain that doubled him in the darkness of the little shelter, put him over and face down in the sand to moan again and again, mother, mother, mother. This is his mother. Okay, would you go ahead? Never anything like this.
And never anything like this, never. It was as if all the berries, all the pits had exploded in the center of him, ripped and tore at him. He crawled out it was still further and was sick again. Vomiting is correct.
Vomiting and diarrhea.
Vomiting and with terrible diarrhea of for over an hour, for over a year. He thought until he was at last empty and drained of aslands.
So do you understand what happened with the berries? Do you see what I wrote in the chat? Kusma and Ishal.
Yeah.
Okay, so the berries came out this way and they came out that way. So maybe he should not have eaten the berries. Maybe he should have found something else. I think they made him sick. Okay. Then he
Yeah,
crawled
this
back
one.
to the shelter and fell again to the sand, but could not sleep at first, could do nothing except lie there. And his mind decided to bring the memory up again. In the mall, every detail. His mother sitting in the station wagon in the car with the man, and she leaned across and kissed him, kissed the man with the short blonde hair. And it was not a friendly peck, but a kiss where he turned her head over at an angle and put her mouth against the mouth of the blonde man who was not his father and kissed mouth to mouth, and then brought her hand up to touch his cheek, his forehead, while they were kissing. And Brian saw it. Now, remember that Brian's parents have divorced. And they got divorced because Brian's mother is with another man, but she's trying to keep it secret. Okay?
Okay.
Except that Brian knows what happened. He knows that she was with another man. Go ahead.
So this thing that his mother did with the blonde man. So the kiss that became the secret that his father still didn't know about, know all about. The memory was so real that he could feel the heat in the mall that day, could remember the worry that Terry would turn and see his mother, could remember the worry of the shame of it, and then the memory faded and he slept again.
So he's finally fallen asleep, awake. For a second, perhaps two, he did not know where he was still in his sleep somewhere. Then he saw the sun streaming in the open doorway of the shelter, and he heard the close, vicious whine of the mosquitoes, and he knew. He brushed his face, completely welted now with 2 days of bites, completely covered with lumps and bites, and was surprised to find the swelling on his forehead has gone down a great deal, was almost gone. Rizan, you know, when you get a mosquito, you bite, you get a little bump on your skin.
Yeah.
Well, his face is covered with bumps from the mosquitoes. Go ahead. The smell.
The smell was awful and he couldn't place it. Then he saw the pile of berries and at back of the shelter and remembered the night and being sick. Too many of them, he said aloud. Too many got cherries.
Cherries. He crawled out of the shelter and found where he messed the sand. He used sticks and cleaned it as best he could, covered it with clean sand, and went down to the lake to wash his hands and get a drink.
It was still very early on, only just passed through them down, and the water was so calm he could see his reflection. It frightened him. The face was cut and bleeding, swollen and lumpy. The
Rizan,
hair.
excuse me, but we are out of time, okay?
Oh,
So he
okay,
goes
Mr.
to get a drink, and when he looks at the water, he's got a big cut on his head, all the mosquito bites. He looks so bad, it scares him. Looking in the mirror, it scares him how bad he looks. Okay, Rezan, see you next week. Have a good week.
You, Mr.
Good to see
Vernon.
you.
Bye.
Good night, sir. Bye-bye.
It's good to see you too.